Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM1, January 15th, 2021. So we're up to card number 14 now. So consider this equation. Devon used the equation D, that's the distance from the wall edge, is 4 plus 2n to extend this table. Is it correct? Well, let's think about that. Remember, the generic or general equation for arithmetic sequence is a sub n, the nth term, value of nth term is common difference multiplied by the number of terms, the term number, plus a sub 0, the zeroth term value. Okay, so what is the zeroth term value and what is the common difference? This is the common difference. Or whatever you're adding, and this is the zeroth term value. Okay, what is the zeroth term? Well, let's figure out what is the common difference. What am I adding each time? I'm adding 4. And how do I figure that out? Find the second term, subtract it by previous term. 6 minus 2 is going to be 4. So I'm adding 4 each time, and it checks out. Okay, that means to figure out, okay, so that means the common difference is positive 4, and the zeroth term. To figure out zeroth term, we're going backwards. So now we're going backwards to figure out zeroth term. Instead of adding 4, we're going to subtract 4 from the first term. 2 minus 4 is going to be negative 2. So in this case, okay, the common difference is plus 4. And a sub 0 we figured out to be negative 2. Okay, so common difference is the number in front of the variable n. And here it is saying the common difference is 2. Is that true? No, that's not true. And is 4, what is 4? 4 is the common difference here because we're adding 4. I'm sorry, that should be plus 4. Okay, so the actual equation should be D is equal to, what do we find to be common difference? That's going to be 4 times n, variable n, plus, what is the zeroth term? Negative 2. Or you could have written just negative 2 right here. So it's going to be 4n minus 2. And that should be the correct equation. So Devon is not correct. Okay, so now we have a new wall with just the first two hooks being placed. So we need to come up with either the rest of the numbers here. There are 24 frames, or far easier will be to come up with the equation and let the Desmos do the work for us. So to do that, we need to figure out the common difference. How is the numbers increasing? And to figure that out, we need to go from the common difference, and that's confusing because D represents the distance. So I am going to use the word common difference. Common difference is going to be the second number, which is 17.3 minus 12. Just because we're dealing with decimal, that does not make our life too difficult. It's just another number. 17.3 minus 12, that's going to be 5.3. This tells me we are adding 5.3 each time. So I know that the final answer, the equation is going to be 5.3, and that is the number that is being multiplied by n, the hook number, and then we need to figure out the zeroth term. And to figure out the zeroth term, we're going to subtract 5.3 from 12. Okay, so 0th term, that's going to be a sub 0, is going to be 12. Take away 5.3, and that's going to be 6.7. So the equation is going to be 6.7. So I am going to type that in and submit it. And it should fill the table for us. And again, the 12 and 17.3 matches up. And I know that the rest is correct then. Then let's move on to, okay, here's a new wall. There are 18 frames. Where should the hooks go? Okay, this time, instead of knowing the first two, we know the third and the seventh. So we need to figure out, okay, what is the equidistance from there? Okay, so I know that to go from 12 to 26, how should we figure it out? Well, I know that I am going to add the common difference, whatever the difference is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times, okay? And I know what is the distance from 12 to 26. The distance from 12 to 26 is, so to do that, we must subtract 26 minus 12 is going to be 14, okay? That means we need the 14 divided by 4 because we are adding it 4 times to go from 12 to 26. You might think it's 3 because we have 3 missing numbers, but if I do 3, then that's not going to work out. Okay? So again, I'm going to divide it by 4, so 14 divided by 4, that gets me 3.5. So that means I am going to add 3.5 and add 3.5 and add 3.5 each time. And let's see if it works out. Okay, adding 3.5 and 3.5 together, that's 7 together. 12 plus 7 is going to be 19. And 19 plus another 7 is going to be 26. That works out. Okay, so I know that common difference is 3.5. So the equation is going to be D is equal to something 3.5 n plus, now we need to figure out what the 0th term is. Okay, now to do that, we need to figure out how many times are we subtracting. Okay, how many times are we subtracting to get to the 0th term? We're subtracting 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes, we can subtract 3.5 3 times each time and coming up with the numbers. But you know what? Let's let the calculator do the work. That way we are less likely to make the mistake as well. Okay, so that's going to be 3.5 times 3, and I'm using parentheses so that I do not get that mixed up, is 10.5. So I am going to subtract 10.5 from 12, and that's going to be 1.5. So I know that the 0th term is 1.5. So it's going to be 1.5. And let's type that in. And when I submit it, I get the table filled out. And notice that 12 and 26 matches up. So I know that I have my sequence correct. Okay, card number 17. Cameron and Camilla use different equations to represent the numbers in this table. Cameron's equation is d is equal to 3n plus 7, and Camilla's equation is d is equal to 10 plus 3 multiplied by n minus 1. Who is correct? Well, let's see if Cameron's equation works out. Okay. Well, is the common difference 3? Is the common difference 3? First of all, this tells me it's the common difference is 3. So yeah, I am adding 3 each time. Okay, so that would be correct, and that is the number being multiplied to the variable. What about zeroth term? To figure out zeroth term, instead of adding 3, we're going to subtract 3 from 10, and that gives me 7, so this checks out. So Cameron is definitely correct. What about Camilla? Well, Camilla, would her equation work out? Let's check when n is equal to 1. Okay, when n is equal to 1, d is going to be 10 plus 3 times n, that's 1 minus 1, which is going to be 0. So that's going to be just 3 times 0 is 0, so it's just going to be 10. And that's what we have. That checks out. What about when n is equal to 2? D is equal to 10 plus 3 times n is 2, so that's going to be 2 minus 1. That's 2 minus 1 is 1. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 10 is 13. And that's what we have. And if we keep doing this, you will find that Camilla's equation also works out. Okay, why is that so? Because it does not look very similar. Well, it turns out they are actually exactly the same equation, but it's just written in different form. If I expand this out, remember the parenthesis, I can use the distributive property, and that becomes d is equal to 10 plus 3 times n is 3n, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So this simplifies to 7 plus 3n, because 10 and negative 3 simplifies to 7. And that's exactly what Cameron's equation is, if you expand it out, which means they're both correct. And card number 18 is just for you to just draw something using this the sketchboard until your classmates have all caught up. So this is an optional exercise. So let's quickly recap what we should have discovered from the Desmos exercise. So finding the common differences when you have a number here 12 and 26 here, okay, knowing that this is arithmetic, you need to figure out how many times is the common difference being added. It's being added 4 times. We're missing 3 numbers, but common difference is being added 4 times, so it's one more than the number of numbers that are missing. Okay, so the total amount that I add is 26 minus 12. That's going to be 14. And so I need to divvy up the 14 into 4 equal parts, and that becomes 3.5. So I know that common difference is 3.5 here. And then from here, you can come up with the rest of the equation. So I want you to tell me in private chat, how do you figure out the missing numbers? Okay, is it increasing, decreasing? The sequence is increasing because it's going from 12 to 20.8. So we know it's increasing. What about the common difference? Do you expect the common difference to be positive or negative? If the sequence is increasing, that means you are adding some same number. So it has to be positive. Okay, from 12, how many times is the common difference added to get to 20.8? Okay, so it's being added 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times. So it's going to be 4. And then finally, what is the common difference? That's going to be, you need to subtract 20.8 minus 12, because that's how much it needs to increase by. Okay, so that's 8.8. It needs to increase by 8.8 from 12 to 20.8. By how many additions? By 4. So we're going to divide 8.8 by 4, and you get 2.2. So the common difference is 2.2, and we can fill in the rest by adding 2.2 to each of the previous number and those other ones. Okay, I will continue on the next lesson recording.